Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of How Did We Get Here? I'm your host, Jay Carter, and the man that is always heard and never, ever will be seen, Skeens.
Yep.
Better Than Your Average is the channel and the movement. How Did We Get Here? It's a show. We got two cousins that are like brothers talking any and everything in the process. How did we get here? Want to wish y'all a happy Saturday is when we're recording this. I don't know when we're going to drop it, but as always, want to send y'all love, peace, and blessings. We pray that you and your family are both all healed, healthy, blessed, and prosperous. We getting right to it these next few episodes, man. But we've been wanting to do this for a while, and we'll actually have some other brothers come on and do some talking on this. A myriad of topics, but this is going to be the first installment of GM Skeens. So let's give a shout out to Skeens on his GMing. For y'all that don't know, this dude is a avid encyclopedia of sports and topics and all that kind of stuff. And I've told y'all allegedly at one point he was decent at basketball. So we wanted to get your thoughts. And you guys can comment in this video as well, but I asked this first question. Has the LeBron James experiment in LA been successful, or did it fall underneath expectations?
So when it comes to LeBron, there's a thing that you have to think about. LeBron is basically whenever you bring LeBron to your team, it's just like it's like going to war, but it's the after effects of war, right?
Okay.
So when he leaves, just like the U.S., we go to other countries. We're the ones that have to fork over the money, which I never understood. I come destroy it, then I gotta destroy it. I win, but I gotta pay to to build it back. But that's kind of what happens with the runs he comes to your team. Now there's a short amount of victory, especially with the Lakers, right? They won the championship. Some people say it was the hardest championship ever. I disagree because you was in a bubble. Now I understand people saying Paul George had mental health issues and stuff like that, but I look at it this way: you played half the season. Yep. Well, let's go back. When LeBron first got to the Lakers, he's never played a full season. Right. His first year, he with the young cast, he got hurt. Yeah. They sit him down. The next year, he brought Anthony Davis. COVID happened. They sit down for 4 months. So him being an aged person, right? That 4 months was a lot of time of body regeneration, the healing. Right. So they won the championship in the bubble. But even within the bubble, the reason why I say it wasn't as hard because there was no travel.
That's my biggest thing. You're not going on the road or nothing.
Traveling it gives you opportunity because 100 days in the bubble allowed you an opportunity to create a regimen or routine. And when it comes to athletes, routine is everything.
Absolutely.
So no travel. You didn't have to deal with any fans booing you now, same time you don't have the fans that hype you up when you make a good play. But at the same time, when you mess up, there's nothing that you got to listen to the fans or you get tight in certain moments. So that's the reason why you saw certain players that played above their means. Look at KCP. Played above his means in the playoff. Didn't have to deal with any outside interference. So to go to the year after, LeBron got hurt. AD stays hurt. Charles Barkley gave him the greatest name of all time, Street Clothes.
Anthony Street Clothes Davis.
So now we look at the Lakers this year, arguably the worst team in the NBA. And I love the Lakers. Arguably the worst team in the NBA.
Here's my hot take, though, to go back. The bubble at the NBA level was glorified scrimmages.
Yeah. And see the thing with when you look at the Lakers, right? And I've been saying for the last 2 years, get rid of Anthony Davis. Even when
you get rid of him now.
Even with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
You know, the league always talk, oh, he's a great player. I've always said there was empty calories.
Right, on that team.
He puts up great numbers. If Anthony Davis is a top 5 player, why did the Pelicans only make it to the playoff 2 times? One of those years was with Boogie Cousins, who was arguably at that time the best center in the league.
Right.
You had Drew Holiday, arguably the best or the top 5 two-way players in the league.
Yep.
And even when Milwaukee got Drew Holiday, they gave him 3 first-round draft picks. If these players are so great,
right,
including Anthony Davis, they only beat Portland. They got the first round one time. He stays hurt, never plays a full season. Plus, they had Rondo, so they had a ton of players, and they had, I'm not gonna go through the whole roster, but they had a lot of Etuan Thomas. Etuan Moore. They had a lot of good players. But if you're a top 5, I expect you to get in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
So now we look at the Lakers, and I go to LeBron. The Lakers gave up all of their young assets. They gave up all these draft picks. They don't have a draft pick 2027.
Right.
So when LeBron leaves in 2 years, what is your team gonna look like? You have no future. You have no young assets. You have no draft picks. So and people always talk about the Lakers as a team full of stars. They star driven, yes. But if you look at the history of the Lakers outside of Shaq, and you can say Lou Alcindor, from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for those that know his real name. All of the Lakers players have been in-house. Magic, drafted by the Lakers.
In-house.
Worthy.
In-house.
Kobe, even though the first day draft pick changed for Vlad, but it was still in-house.
He played for the Lakers. Yeah.
All of their talent has really been in-house. Yeah. You develop a culture in-house. They understand what it means to be a Laker. You grow, you have homegrown talent. Then you bring in a star to mesh with that.
Yeah.
So we looking at it totally different. So now Anthony Davis is going to be a free agent in a couple of years. If you don't get anything for him, what you got? You have no bench. You have no star.
You traded away a lot of that good young talent that you had. Yeah.
Look at Brandon Ingram.
Yeah,
putting up 25 points a game. Regardless of how you feel about him, he was an all-star the first year. He went to the Pelican. Yeah, Lonzo Ball became pretty good over years. Not going to be an all-star, but he's a very good point guard now.
Yeah.
Josh Hart. You got rid of Kuzma. He's playing pretty good with Washington. Yeah. You gave up tons of picks. Then when you brought in the point guard from last year. Can't think of his name. Dennis Schroeder. You gave up a draft pick for Dennis Schroeder. Well, the draft pick that, per all the mock drafts would have been Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is going to most likely win 6th man of the year with Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
So you giving up all of these assets. Then LeBron, they want you to give up the 2027 pick to get rid of Russ when they gave up more young assets to get Russ when everybody thought it was going to work.
I wanted you to do this too. We've talked about this behind the scenes for the longest. Break down for the people that don't look at basketball like that, the actual nuance of LeBron's game.
Well, I know I forgot my other unpopular opinion. Go ahead and trade LeBron while you have a chance. It's not an emotional trade. That's that was a great thing about Bill Belichick. Hate him or love him, he always get rid of players a year or two before you go to the bottom.
Yeah.
Now LeBron, the great thing with him is he is the point guard.
Right.
No matter what position he's always played. Yeah. Every time you put players around him, you have to have a particular type of player around him.
What's that type of player?
Basically 3-and-D. He's a spot up shooter. Play some defense. But of anything, you can have a semi-secondary ball handler. That's why if you're looking at Malik Monk this year, Monk is looking great because he's good as a secondary ball handler. You don't have to look at him as the main guy, but Monk is a shooter.
Okay.
Look at Kyrie. Kyrie, as crazy as he is with the ball in his hand, he's also very good off the ball.
Yep, very good. Yeah.
And, I heard listening to Shaq the other day saying, well, when LeBron leaves, teams always go, you'll never win a championship or team go in the tank. Well, because the players you put around LeBron have to have a specific skill set. I don't need ball handlers around LeBron because the one of the reasons why the Russell Westbrook experiment is failing, because Russell plays just like LeBron. It to a certain extent.
Right.
He's ball dominant.
Very ball dominant. Right.
So you have Russell, who's been in the league 13, 14 years, who's had the ball in his hand from jump.
Right.
Now you're 14. You tell Russ, hey, Russ, I don't need you having the ball in your hand. Now I want you to be a spot-up shooter.
Yeah, well, that's the part that's crazy. You want him to get a jump shot all of a sudden.
He's never been a shooter.
He never had a jump shot, ever.
So now this far in his career, you want him to develop a skill set that he never had. So players saying, oh, well, people say, well, when you play with LeBron, you have to adapt your game. Yes, you have to adapt, but you also have to have those certain skill sets as well.
Right.
So that's not something Russ has.
Yep.
D Wade adapted, but D Wade was good at cutting off the ball and different things. So D Wade knew he wasn't a shooter, but he found other ways. So when LeBron leaves teams, if you don't have a person who can create their own shot, your team go to the tank. Miami was only halfway decent because they still had some rev. D Wade stayed there. That's why one reason why they didn't go to the toilet, because they actually had someone who can initiate.
Right. Exactly. Yep. That's
the reason why Cleveland, when he left, went through the trash. It went trash because they had nothing. They're building it up right now. BJ Bickerstaff is doing a great job. I don't know how he's doing it because he has no wing players. He's playing with 1 point guard, 3 centers, and a small forward playing 2 guard.
Right.
He's doing a great job of coaching.
Right.
So that's the thing with LeBron. He the stats are great.
Right.
And when you look at the ball, the ball is in his hand the entire game. When he was younger, he controlled the tempo of the game. Now we look at his numbers. He's putting up 30 points a game. But and we're saying, oh, he's putting up better numbers than ever. Well, the game is faster than ever. We're shooting more threes than ever. So it's easier to hit 30. Not saying that he's still not dominant, but we look at the way those numbers come about totally different, because now LeBron ain't playing about defense. I love him, but we were talking earlier. He had that one clip when Kuzma had to push him in his back.
Right.
He plays nobody. He's not playing any defense, but at this stage of his career, he shouldn't have to.
Yeah, he really not at this stage. No,
but that's also part of team makeup with LeBron.
Yeah,
he should be playing no more than 30 minutes a game. You should have part of having those younger players, and the reason why Monk and Reeves look good because they're young. They can actually run. You should have been developing your bench. Same thing would happen to the Bulls. When Jordan was getting older, him and Pippen, I remember the draft back in the day, but instead of drafting Jason Caffey, they could have drafted Michael Finley.
Right. Yep.
You could have started developing your bench. As well as they get older, you have the guys actually teach Jordan, LeBron, whoever the guys are, to teach these young cats what it takes to win. You share your tips, and as your minutes start going down, they'll start to ascend. But as an organization, you then now have your next wave,
right?
And you can keep it going. Even with the Lakers, when Shaq and Kobe won, you had Shaq and Kobe, but you had also a very good bench. When after they got rid of they traded Shaq, you had Kobe and Pau Gasol. They had a benchmark with Jordan Farmar, Vucevic. They had a pretty good amount of young players on the bench. Rodney Turiaf, they weren't great players, but they were very good in the roles.
Absolutely. Yep. Turiaf, you need some down dirty kind of guys to come in and give you good quality minutes like that.
Well, even Golden State.
Yep.
We look at the team when they brung in Durant, but even prior to Durant, one of the Golden State best attributes was their bench.
Right.
That Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, Leandro Barbosa, they had a great bench. So a lot of time when Steph Curry was still on the bench, their bench would actually maintain the lead, or sometimes even increase the lead, because they had a great bench that understood the regiment or the routine or how the coach wanted them to play. And we always get stuck on this a big three, having 3 stars. Well, Golden State Big Three was an outlier because Steph is great. As great of a shooter as he is, Steph plays very well without the ball. Because Draymond really is their point guard.
Yep.
You got Klay sometimes who dribbles one to two times, sometimes doesn't even take a dribble at all in a game.
Yep.
And still get you 27, 30. You had Durant there. Durant gives you 30 on 12 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Durant is very efficient. Doesn't really dominate the ball, but unfortunately, we in this Big Three era, the third player is always being a glorified role player. He's an overpaid role player.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because he never gets to really display all his attributes. You look at Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was a 2010 All-Star guy year after year. Toronto. He goes to Miami. He's a spot-up shooter.
Yep.
Got Kevin Love, who's putting up 20 points, 20 rebound games at Minnesota. They wasn't winning, but he was putting up huge number. He was an all-star. He go to Cleveland. He became a glorified role player, spot-up shooter.
Well, you talking about how the league has changed. And I used to know this stat off the top of my head, kind of from our era, 90s, y'all. Now it's talking about how the game has changed. So first of all, switching gears just slightly is that we get into the argument of the difference in eras and what era was harder, this, that, and the third. I never want to discredit any era because you can't control when you were born or what era you played. But we definitely can say that the 90s was a much more physical league, and that the rule book was shrunk more.
Yeah.
The rule book now is, it's kind of, you looked at guys like, I looked at some of those years, say, for instance, when Dan Marley was considered, we used to consider Dan Marley a three, later on, Thunder Dan at one point, y'all used to be dunking on people, dog, all that kind of stuff. He used to dunk a little bit, but he was considered a top-notch three-point shooter. He was attempting maybe 5 a game, I think, something like that. Now a team right now,
50, 55.
Well, their average per game, Minnesota is shooting 41 threes a game.
Yeah.
The average.
Bro, it's some games I see 60,
but you see some
threes a game.
They last game they shot 47 threes. Right now, y'all, the Chicago Bulls are the low man on the totem pole with 29.5 threes a game. But really 30 threes a game.
The boy DeRozan doing real work in the mid-range. And you can argue that DeRozan is MVP. I know.
He's actually my vote. I know a lot of people will Embiid.
Embiid has been doing his thing, but
DeRozan, man,
you can argue he's been MVP.
And he's been so clutch in these games. Cool, calm, collective, go down there, get a quality 2-point shot. You know what I'm saying?
And the crazy thing is he's doing it very, very, very efficiently.
Right.
In the age of analytics, where you say a mid-range jump shot is a worse shot. Well, mid-range shot is a bad shot if you're not good at taking mid-range.
Right. Yeah.
But also, he was doing this, winning game after game. Caruso's been out. Lonzo Ball's been out.
Yep.
Zach LaVine has been out off and on doing this streak. Patrick Williams has been out the whole season.
Hey, watch this.
And he's been balling.
Watch this, y'all. I just went back just randomly. The 1992 to 93 season, Dan Marley was leading the league with 2 threes made a game.
Well, think about think about Ray Allen. We think about Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Yeah.
If Ray was in this era, Ray numbers would look totally different.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because back then you worked on the game was inside out, because you always say, hey, the percentage is easier inside.
Yep.
And contrast to shooting a lot of threes. But now the way the game is, we talk about the era is a lot more skilled, which it is. But a lot of skill sets has been lost.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be hard pressed to find 7 big men in the league that can actually score their back to the basket.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a skill.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or guards, not just playing pick and roll, the ball in your hand. How many players still know how to run around curls? Flares,
exactly. Yep.
Backdoor. I rarely see backdoor. We talk about the 3-and-D, and you have people talking about that the Bulls triangle doesn't work. If you watch Golden State, a lot of what Golden State runs at times is kind of the triangle. It's a different. It's a
yeah.
It's a
That's
lot of motion offense.
Yep.
San Antonio ran a lot of motion for many years when they won championship. So the analytics tell you about the 3-point shots. You shoot so many, you should win. But also, what gets lost is, hey, if I have a big man that puts their team in foul trouble, your best shooter is going to be on the bench. Because
absolutely,
if you switch Steph Curry, let's say Shaq, you switch Steph on the Shaq on a pick and roll, and Shaq has Steph in a post.
Yep.
Either Shaq's going to dunk or Steph is going to foul him. Yep. Well, if Steph gets too many fouls, guess what Steph ain't doing? He ain't shooting threes because he's on the bench.
Watch this though. As I dig down just the difference in eras and how the game was played. Let's look since Steph Curry's name starts showing up in here a whole lot is as far as leading the league, y'all, was the 2013-2014 season, right? He shot 615 threes that year. The next year he shot 646. He shot the year after that 886. Then he shot 789. Then James Harden came in, shot 722. Then James Harden came in the 2018-2019 season. James Harden shot 1,028 threes.
Yeah.
James Harden 2019 through 2020, he shot 843 threes. In the 2020 to 2021 season, Steph Curry shot 801 threes. So let's go all the way back as far as this goes, the 1979-1980 season. Brian Taylor for the San Diego Clippers. Well, no, he shot 239 threes. There's some people. Mike Bratz shot 169. Darrell Griffith. Daryl? Is it? It's probably Darrell. He shot 252, 257. Mike Dunleavy.
Yeah.
Shot 194 threes when he was at these caps was in the 30s. You know what I'm saying?
Snipers back then.
Danny Ainge one year shot 357 threes. He averaged, it was 41%. So in that era, again, y'all, the game was just
it was a different type of
game. You know what I'm saying? It was just a totally different game. Yeah,
it's not saying it's a bad, or but as the game has evolved, a lot of the players now are at that time were considered tweeners.
Right. Yeah.
So we talk about positionless basketball. Well, once upon a time, positionless meant to use a tweener.
Right. Yep.
So when we talk about this is a more skilled era, yes and no. There were players that were very skilled, because the game was different. Their skill set was shown. Gilbert Arenas. We talk about how Gilbert was the original. He was the prequel to all the guards now. He was really a 2-guard playing point guard and shooting, scoring a lot. A lot of the guards now are really 2 guards. But
exactly. Yes.
They were considered tweeners.
Yes.
You're too big to be, too small to be a 2-guard. Too small. Well, not able to really run a team as a point guard. So if Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf
was born in this era,
this type of freedom, he was Steph Curry before Steph.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the game has changed, and just the game has became more accepting of certain skill sets that was once not allowed because you didn't fit the mold or the stereotype of. Right. This. It's just like with NFL with quarterbacks. Every quarterback had to be white, 6'4", 6'5", statue. Yeah. So now you have those guys are going by the wayside. Now you're seeing athletic quarterbacks, a dual threat.
Yep.
Once upon
shorter guys. You know what I'm saying?
When you was a dual threat.
Yep.
Hey, they shunned you and talked about you not being not thinking because you wasn't a thinking man quarterback because you didn't go through your progressions,
right?
And you didn't have the stereotype of standing in a pocket and looking the tackler in the eye. But you say, hey, a first down is a first down. I give the defense more headache by being a dual threat because they got to do more work and more preparation, understanding when I won't run.
Yeah.
So it's just the evolution of the game. Now, some evolution I'm not with because some of these these double step backs,
man,
as the NBA changed the rule book.
Bro, when we hooped, you would take a dribble, guys, and go steps. Pap, pap, shoot your shot. Now
well, you can take 2 steps, and then they gave you a gather step, which is 2 more steps.
Oh my
God! If you can take 4 steps before without having to dribble, along with some other things, you should. It is almost impossible to be guarded.
Yeah, and I mean, really, just here it is. The NBA said, "Hey, we just want to make this game. We want these scores to go through the roof."
Well, the NBA as well as the NFL. Well, once upon a time, especially the NFL, they laughed at Arena League.
Mm-hmm.
All these high
they sure did.
71 point games. And to the masses, everybody talked about it wasn't real football. Well, that's the NBA and the NFL both have adopted the Arena League model of scoring is king.
Yeah.
We don't. Yeah. It's not
people want to see scoring.
Yeah. But eventually, at some point, you have to dial it down because you want it to somewhat look competitive, or have some form of integrity about the game.
You want some friction in there, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You want some kind of pushback.
But if you get to a point,
it's even crazy now how they played the All-Star game is crazy to me now.
Well, they had to change it a little bit because it got to a point it wasn't even competitive.
I mean, these dudes is playing around the whole game.
But now they've changed the rules that per quarter, a certain amount of money goes. Whoever wins that quarter goes to a charity. That's the only way they got them to actually play hard again. Because it's almost to a point like why we used to live for All-Star games.
We live for it.
The dunk contest was horrible, but it's a whole
that's story. A whole nother story.
It's to a point now. Why do you even play it? Like the NFL with the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is so horrible.
Oh,
they might well
take the Pro Bowl off TV.
Just go ahead and just retire. If they don't want to be there, you want to be. You get mad if you're not announced as a Pro Bowl that you made.
Right.
But you don't want to play the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
It's becoming the same.
Laughing stock.
Before the NBA changed those rules, it was getting to that point like, you score, I score. I'm not going to attempt to do anything.
And I remember again in our era, for first 2 quarters or whatever, they kind of would,
lather up,
Then that after half came around, Cass was like, "Hey, it's time to get to it." You know what I'm saying? Guys, the Jordans and Kobe's are like, "Hey, I'm really taking this as some competition to have some bragging rights off of this." So
absolutely, because that's what during the summer you're supposed to be. I'm supposed to be able to look in your face like, "Hey, you know what happened."
Absolutely,
this is the best of the best.
Okay. Anyway, so it's been another quick hitter from us. This has been another episode of How Did We Get Here? I'm your host, Jay Carter, and the man that is always heard and never, ever will be seen, Skeens.
Never.
And we'll holler at y'all next time.